Okay, Google.
After 6 years of partnering up with phone makers to create its Nexus phones, Google is taking the reins. The company released its first pair of Pixel phones, and while HTC may have put it together, Google engineered it, designed it, and branded it. So, what are they like? Well, there are two of them, the Pixel and the Pixel XL. They're nearly identical, except the XL has a bigger, sharper display and a larger battery. Both are beautifully made. They do look a little like the iPhone, but they have angled edges, flush cameras, and this funky two-tone coloring. And yeah, that glossy shade does look weird at first, but it kind of grew on me. The Pixels are also deeply integrated with Google's search services and are the first phones to come with Google Assistant, which you activate by either pressing the home button or saying,
Okay, Google. What is the De Young Museum?
Here's some information about De Young.
Assistant is basically an AI bot that uses Google's vast search database to answer all kinds of questions.
When does it close today?
But it's conversational and you could speak to it in a natural back-and-forth way.
The Young Museum is open right now and closes at 5:15 p.m.
Often with most voice assistants, you forget that it's there. But when you do remember, Google Assistant can be useful and works relatively fast. But of course, there are some things it just doesn't know.
Okay, Google. Why am I so lonely?
There might be some info on the web.
Another cool software feature is Launcher Shortcuts, which is Google's take on Apple's 3D Touch. Just long press on some of the apps and additional options will pop up right away. You'll also get a GIF integrated keyboard, a nightlight mode that tints the display, and a fingerprint reader on the back that you can use to pull down your notifications. Alright, so how's the hardware? The Snapdragon 821 processor is fast and smooth, and the battery lasted a solid workday with medium to heavy usage. During our lab test, both phones clocked in over 13 hours of continuous video playback on airplane mode. Oh, and don't worry, you still get a headphone jack. Google made a big deal about the Pixel's camera, and suffice to say, it's excellent. By default, the phone shoots in HDR auto mode, and a flick of the wrist switches between shooters. The camera's lens blur feature could use work, but overall, images look clear, sharp, and vivid. Photos taken in low light understandably weren't as sharp, but the Pixel did manage to take in a lot of light, brighten up scenes, and capture relatively clear shots. The camera also uses a combination of the gyroscope and software to steady your videos. This is useful when you're moving while recording, but it does give your videos a sort of surreal, almost drone-like quality. The phone has a few drawbacks though. It's not completely water resistant, which would have been fine a few years ago, but now that many others like Sony, Samsung, and Apple have phones that are water resistant, having the Pixel rated below IP67 seems like an oversight. The screen is also pretty dim in direct sunlight, and it's most noticeable when you're out shooting photos. In general though, the Pixels are superb devices, and you don't have to be some sort of Android enthusiast to appreciate them. They look great and work fast. Plus, with Google Assistant, it's kind of like having a helpful friend bot who talks a little stilted but knows everything in your pocket, ready to go.